Okay, lovely. So we're going to just put this into practice, okay, in quite a simple way, but I'm just going to explain it to you, okay? So we're going to just take a bit of time in a minute to write, it says here, a counter argument paragraph. But what I mean by a paragraph is we're talking in more than one sentence, okay? So when you are writing your task response in a minute, we're talking between 1 to 4 sentences, no more, okay? So just listen to me, let me explain the context. So we're going to imagine that we're sticking with this theme of litter picking. Okay, now we want a counter argument. We want to be able to show, okay, we're going to acknowledge the other side that they might have a problem, but we're going to refute it. We're going to gently respond. Now, our gentle response means we're not going to be like, you're stupid, or that's wrong, or how dare you. We're not going to get angry because remember, we want to appeal to a mass audience. We want to appeal to their logos, their reasoning, their thinking. And actually, sometimes when you get angry, when you're being persuasive, the only emotion, the only pathos response you get from your audience is they get angry too. So this counter argument is not about just shutting somebody else down. Remember, it's that specious argument. It's that idea of being able to say, okay, there's some plausibility in what you're saying. I acknowledge what you're saying. However, so I want you to listen, okay, to some of the three kind of like things, typical things people might say, right? If we said, come on, year 9, let's go outside and pick up litter. I could imagine, forgive me if I'm wrong, some of these sort of things being said. But wait a minute, if I pick up litter, someone else comes and just drops more. Yet we hear that argument. What's the point in even starting? What's the point in taking on this Sisyphean task where it seems endless and impossible? Because as soon as we pick up litter, somebody else comes and drops more. We hear this as well. Well, it's not my litter. I didn't drop it. That's not mine. And again, all of these have a degree of acknowledgement. There's a degree of truth in them. So a counter argument is about acknowledging the truth, but then offering a rebuttal, a refutation, being able to say, I know you're thinking that, but, okay? There are people paid to pick up litter. Let them do it. Now, that's the one that really grinds my gears when people are like that. But somebody else is paid to do it. I'm like, yeah, but still our responsibility. So if people are saying these kind of things to us, how would you respond? So you can see here we've got 2 yellow phrases. There are, of course, people who believe that. And we've got this phrase, but this is a specious argument because, okay? So there are, of course, people who believe that if they start to pick up litter, it will only then result in more litter being dropped by somebody else at another time. And so the problem keeps going. So there are, of course, some people who believe that, simply picking up litter isn't enough because people only come and drop more. But, I'm going to love a but this is a specious argument because we have to start somewhere. Because if we applied this logic to other areas of life, nothing would ever get done. Yeah? Let's think about it. So, there are, of course, people who believe that it's not their litter, that it's not their responsibility to clear up a mess that they didn't make. But this is a specious argument because, so how can we refute that? It's not my litter, I didn't drop it. But this is a specious argument because the negative impact of litter is our problem. Yep, you didn't drop the litter, you didn't make the problem, but you will live with the consequences of too much litter. You will live with the consequences of plastic pollution. You will live the consequences of an environment that is increasingly messy. Okay, so there are, of course, people who believe that. There are people paid to pick up litter, so let them do it. But this is a specious argument because we're abdicating responsibility. I love that word, abdicating. It means that we're giving up our responsibility to do anything about a problem and just hoping that somebody else comes along and does it for us. Now, what I want you to do in a minute, if you want to, you can listen again. I'm just going to ask you to pause and complete a paragraph that uses those 2 phrases. So you're going to complete the first one and then lead into the second sentence. That's why it's going to be a paragraph because there's more than 2 ideas, more than 2 sentences. Now, you can either use one of my green ideas, so some of the sort of things that people might say, or you can come up with your own. So I'm going to do one more, nice and slow. So if you're really stuck, you can just listen and write down mine, okay? But I would love it really if you had the confidence to come up with one of your own. Again, if you're a quicker writer, you could take 2 of these, okay, and turn them into paragraphs. So, There are, of course, people who believe that as it's not their litter and they didn't drop it, they shouldn't have to take responsibility for it. But this is a specious argument because the consequences of the drop litter are actually felt by everybody. It's not my litter. I didn't drop it, but I have to live with the mess. I have to live with the environmental impact. I have to live with the plastic pollution. And actually, I don't want to live with it. So then I've created my counter argument. Can you see? Now you can probably do a better job than me. So pause the video and come up with your paragraph. Okay, see you on the other side. Okay, so I just wanted to do a little bit of comparative judgment. So you've got your response. Now we've got a good answer and a poor answer here. Now comparatively, I want you to decide, where would you rank yours? So the paragraph you've just written, is it as good as the good answer we're about to look at? Is it somewhere in the middle? Would it go between the good and the poor answer? Or would it go on the other side of the poor answer? Now, I'm just going to explain to you where one is good and one is bad. And then you can comparatively see where you would place yours, okay? So, good answer. There are, of course, people who believe that taking part in litter picks is a waste of time and effort because there's too much waste in our oceans to really make a difference. But this is a specious argument because projects all over the world have shown that a determined and focused effort can lead to beaches becoming much cleaner. So this is a good paragraph because it anticipates the opposite view and it challenges it respectfully and with evidence. So actually, when I was doing my paragraph verbally with you guys, I didn't have the evidence, did I? So that's what makes this a really good answer. It's respectful. It anticipates the opposite view, and it's even got evidence because it links to projects that show beaches becoming cleaner. Now let's look at our poor answer. There are, of course, people who believe that taking part in litter picks is a waste of time and effort because there's too much waste in our oceans to really make a difference. So even our poor answer begins in the same way. So it's this bit that comes next, okay? But this is a suspicious argument because it just shows that people are too lazy to get off their bums and help. Right. So, yeah, we've still got the anticipating the opposite view, but look, it's rude and it generalizes about people's motivation and there's no evidence. And actually, it's using words like lazy and not getting off their bums to help. So, we've got a good answer and a poor answer. Now, look at your paragraph. Where would you place yours comparatively? Is it as good as the good answer? Is it somewhere in the middle? Would you say, looking at the poor answer, that yours is the other side of that because maybe you didn't make it to the but sentence? So just think about where yours would go. That's what we call a comparative quick bit of judgment. You're comparing what you've written to these two examples. Brilliant. So hopefully you're either looking at a good answer in front of you or somewhere in the middle. Now, guys, what I would love to encourage you to do at this stage, if you're finished and you found this lesson stress-free, I would love you to look at what you've written and see if you can make it look as good as our good answer. In other words, I would love you to take a little bit of extra accountability and redraft your paragraph so that it's as good as the good answer. Okay? But I do appreciate if you're still working on your first paragraph already or that it's taken you your 45 minutes. As long as you've got a paragraph written, you've successfully made it to the outcome of this lesson. If, however, you know you could improve or redraft your paragraph to make it as good as this one, I would love you to do it. Okay, guys? So take time, redraft your paragraph if you are in a position to do so, but make sure you've at least got one paragraph written that has that little bit of that counter argument. Okay? See you tomorrow. Bye.